No one really talks about how scary it is to start again, especially when you've already tried before. Welcome to Moments and Musings, a calm corner where we slow down, breathe, and reflect on life quiet lessons. I am Adiza, and this space is for you, your still moments, your gentle thoughts, and that part of you learning to rest again. Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to the podcast. If you are new here, you're very welcome. And if you've been listening for a while, thank you for staying. Today's episode is for anyone standing at the edge of something new. Not excited, not hopeful yet, just tired. We are talking about the unspoken fear of starting again. I remember a moment when I realized I was about to start again. Not in a dramatic way, no big announcement, just a quiet realization sitting heavy in my chest. I was doing something ordinary, folding clothes, I think, when the thought crossed my mind. So, this is happening again. And I didn't feel brave about it. I felt embarrassed. Starting again sounds courageous from the outside, but from the inside, it can feel like failure. You start asking yourself, did I not learn the first time? Why am I back here? What if this doesn't work too? There's this particular shame attached to starting again, or even the word again, as if you're repeating a beginning you've always repeated. As if repeating a beginning means you wasted time. But that is not true. That day, as I stood there with those folded clothes, I realized I wasn't afraid to start again. I was afraid of hoping again because hope requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels risky when you have been disappointed before. It is easier to stay where you are, even if it hurts, than to open yourself up to uncertainty again. Now, let me ask you, have you ever stayed longer than you should have just because you didn't want to begin again? And not just because he was right, but because it was familiar. Here is what we don't say enough. Starting again doesn't mean you failed. It means you listened. You listened to discomfort, to misalignment, to that quiet voice telling you this no longer fits. You don't start from zero. You start from experience. Yes, from lessons learned the hard way. From clarity you didn't have before. And every time you start again, you bring a wiser version of yourself with you, even a better one. The fear doesn't mean you are weak, it means you care, and caring is not a flaw. So later that night, I thought about all the times I had begun again before. Each time I survived, each time I learned something new about myself, each time I became more honest, and I realized something important. Staying stuck out of fear would have cost me more than starting again. So, over to you guys. What are you avoiding restarting because you are afraid of how it will look? And what might you gain if you choose yourself again? Before I end this episode, I want to add one more thought. Because there's something about starting again that I don't think we acknowledge enough. Starting again doesn't always come after failure. Sometimes it comes after outgrowing something. And that distinction matters. I also realized something recently. A lot of the fear around starting again isn't about the beginning itself. It's about having to admit that the old version of life no longer fits in. There is a quiet grief that comes with that. Because even when something wasn't good for us, it was still familiar. It still had memories. It still represented effort, hope, and time. So walking away doesn't just mean choosing something new. It means you're letting go of who you were when you chose that old thing. And that can be really hard. I think we underestimate how much identity is tied to our choices. You know, who you were when you started that relationship, who you were when you took that job, who you were when you made that decision. Starting again means saying to yourself, I am not that person anymore. And that is okay. And even when that change is healthy, it can feel disorienting, right? So, have you ever felt that? Like you are grieving a version of yourself, even though you know you've outgrown it. There's also the fear of being judged. Even if no one is actually judging you, you worry about what it looks like. You worry about having to explain to people. You worry about people thinking you are inconsistent or confused. But the truth is, growth is not linear. Sometimes clarity comes after experience. Sometimes wisdom comes after trying and learning and even adjusting. So, starting again doesn't mean you didn't know what you were doing before. It only means you know more now. And I want to say this gently to you guys. You're not required to stay in something just because you once believed in it. Belief doesn't expire because it was wrong. Sometimes it expires because it has done its work. And honoring that doesn't make you flaky. It only makes you honest. So if you're standing at the edge of a new beginning right now, feeling tired, unsure, or quietly afraid, I want you to hear this. You don't have to feel confident to start again. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to be willing to listen to yourself, willing to trust that your life can hold another chapter, willing to believe that choosing yourself again is not a step backward. So maybe today, maybe this week, you stop seeing again or starting again as a failure. Maybe you see it as a proof that you're paying attention to your life. And that's not something to be ashamed of, right? Thank you for staying with me through this episode. If this conversation felt like it put words to something you've been carrying quietly, I just want to tell you that you're not alone. So be gentle with yourself and remember that starting again is not weakness. It is courage, even when it feels shaky.